The GTA 6 delay has sparked a mix of frustration, humor, and cautious optimism among gamers and game reviewers. Originally expected to launch in 2025, Rockstar Games announced that the release has been pushed to May 26, 2026, citing the need for extra time to meet fan expectations. The delay of GTA 6 has been a roller coaster for fans. While frustrating, the delay is largely due to development challenges, financial considerations, and Rockstar's commitment to quality. GTA 6 has been in development since 2014, but serious work began after Red Dead Redemption 2 launched in 2018. The game is set to return to Vice City, bringing back the beloved Vice City with a massive open world that promises dynamic NPCs, evolving environments, and real-time weather effects. Featuring Lucia, the franchise's first female protagonist, adding a fresh perspective to the franchise. Rockstar is using cutting-edge technology, promising hyper-realistic visuals, advanced AI-driven NPCs, and real-time physics that will make the world feel more alive than ever before. Rockstar has faced staff changes, workplace culture shifts, and a massive leak in 2022, which showed early footage of the game. The company has also been working to avoid crunch culture, which plagued previous projects like GTA 5 and RDR2. Take-Two Interactive, Rockstar's parent company, saw its stock drop by 10% after announcing the delay. GTA 5 has sold over 210 million copies, generating $9 billion, making GTA 6 one of the most anticipated releases ever. Despite the delay, Take-Two expects strong sales in 2026 and 2027, with other major titles like Borderlands 4 and Mafia, The Old Country lined up. Microsoft recently raised Xbox game prices to $80, hinting that GTA 6 could cost more than the standard $70. Rising development costs and fan expectations are pushing the industry toward premium pricing, making GTA 6 likely to launch at a higher price. Special editions could cost upwards of $250, including exclusive in-game content, collectibles, and early access perks. Rising development costs and fan expectations are pushing the industry toward premium pricing, making GTA 6 likely to launch at a higher price. While some fans are disappointed, others appreciate Rockstar's dedication to quality too. The company insists that the extra time is necessary to deliver a groundbreaking experience, promising more updates soon. GTA 6's delay is frustrating, but Rockstar's track record suggests it'll be worth the wait. The hype surrounding GTA 6 is nothing short of legendary, and for good reason. After more than a decade since the release of GTA 5, Rockstar Games is finally bringing the next installment to life, and fans are losing their minds over every tiny detail. From record-breaking trailers to next-gen graphics, GTA 6 is shaping up to be one of the most ambitious games ever made. Why is GTA 6 so hyped? GTA 5 launched in 2013, and since then, Rockstar has kept fans waiting longer than ever before. The anticipation has built up to unprecedented levels, making GTA 6 one of the most awaited games in history. The first GTA 6 trailer, released in December 2023, became the most viewed gaming trailer in history within 24 hours, surpassing even major Hollywood movie trailers. GTA 6 is rumored to have a budget exceeding $2 billion, making it one of the most expensive games ever developed. Rockstar has reportedly spent years refining AI, physics, and world building, ensuring the game feels alive like never before. The company has also focused on reducing crunch culture, which plagued previous projects like GTA 5 and RDR2, leading to longer development cycles but higher quality results. Rockstar is reportedly pushing the limits of gaming hardware, meaning GTA 6 will likely be one of the most demanding games ever released. The game is expected to feature ray tracing, ultra-realistic lighting, and detailed character animations. Early reports suggest high-end PC requirements, including recommended Intel i9 or AMD Ryzen 9 CPU with RTX 30 or RX 6000 series GPU. It could very well need 1 TB of SSD storage support. Rockstar has kept the voice actor's secret, but rumors suggest Hollywood-level talent will be involved. Lucia's voice actress remains unknown, but fans speculate Rockstar is bringing in big names for major roles. Some leaks suggest that motion capture technology has been used extensively, making character animations more lifelike than ever. While some fans are disappointed by the long wait, others appreciate Rockstar's dedication to quality. The company insists that the extra time is necessary to deliver a groundbreaking experience, promising more updates soon. Industry analysts believe GTA 6 will dominate the gaming market, potentially outselling GTA 5, which has already surpassed 210 million copies. But that is for the future. There was a time when gaming wasn't just a hobby, it was an adventure, a portal, a sanctuary. It began with a dusty console tucked under the television, or an old hand-me-down PC that took 5 minutes to boot up. Maybe your first game was something pixelated and clunky by today's standards. Contra, Super Mario Bros., Pokemon Fire Red, Road Rash, or even a cracked version of GTA Vice City. But to you, it was pure magic. You didn't care about frame rates, resolution, or Metacritic scores. You cared about beating that impossible boss, discovering a secret level, or unlocking a new skin that made your pixelated hero feel like a god. You talk about it endlessly with friends at school, or spend hours watching cheat code videos on early YouTube. The lines between reality and imagination blurred in the best way possible. There was wonder in every loading screen. The chiptune music from opening menus still echoes in your head when you least expect it. You remember sneaking in late-night sessions under a blanket, heart pounding with every click, not from the game, but from the fear of getting caught by your parents. The joy wasn't just in the gameplay, it was the ritual. Inserting the disc, blowing into the cartridge for no scientific reason, or hearing the satisfying click of a controller. Those moments carved memories deeper than many movies or vacations ever did. Gaming back then wasn't about achievements or clout, it was about stories, escapism, and a sense of freedom you couldn't get anywhere else. And that love, that childlike awe, is what makes today's disconnection feel so personal, even painful. Because once upon a time, you didn't just play games, you lived in them. Something changed. You didn't notice it at first. The passion dimmed quietly, not with a bang, but with a shrug. Games that once made your heart race now feel meh. You scroll through your Steam library or console home screen, packed with titles you were once excited to try, but somehow nothing clicks. You open a game, stare at the screen, maybe play 5 minutes, then Alt+Tab, and start watching YouTube instead. That same joy you used to chase now feels like a chore. And it's confusing, right? You still want to love games, you still talk about them, follow gaming news, drool over trailers, but when it comes to actually playing, your hands hesitate, your mind wanders, and your heart doesn't follow. You start questioning everything. Is this game boring or am I just tired? Did gaming change or did I change? Am I depressed or just busy? Why do I feel guilty for not having fun? You might even try forcing it, buying new games on sale, replaying old favorites, watching Let's Plays, hoping something reignites the spark. But often, it just feels like emotional CPR on a relationship that quietly died while you were distracted. This isn't about bad games or bad players. It's about a shift, gradual, invisible, and deeply personal. And it makes you feel like you lost a part of yourself, like you abandoned a best friend. Then, there's a strange, almost haunting feeling that creeps in after you finish a game that truly moved you. Not just any game, but the one that grabbed you at your core. Maybe it was the world that pulled you in, the characters you grew to care about, or the choices that made you reflect. And when the credits roll and the music fades, you sit in silence, staring at the screen or your reflection on the black monitor. That ache in your chest, that numbness, that's post-game depression. It's a phenomenon most gamers experience, but few openly talk about, the emotional slump after completing a powerful or immersive game. It isn't just sadness that the game is over, it's the realization that something meaningful has ended, something you were deeply attached to is gone. In a sense, you've lost a world, you've said goodbye to friends, the investment of your time, your emotions, your imagination, all of it suddenly becomes memory. The transition is jarring. Unlike movies or books, games demand more from you. You're not just a viewer, you're an active participant. You walk the miles, you choose who to save, you fail and try again. You grow with your character. This agency creates a bond that's uniquely intimate. So when the journey concludes, it feels like you ended too. A part of you existed only inside that game's world, and with its completion, that part no longer has a place. Some players try to fill the void immediately. They start another game, hoping to recapture the same emotional high, but it rarely works. New games feel shallow, even irritating. The mechanics may be polished, the graphics impressive, but they lack that feeling. The one you're still mourning, like trying to jump into a new relationship before processing the old one, it leaves you unsatisfied and more aware of what you've lost. Post-game depression can be especially intense if the game dealt with philosophical, tragic, or deeply personal themes. Titles like Red Dead Redemption 2, The Last of Us, Persona 5, or Shadow of the Colossus have left countless players in a quiet emotional daze. In these cases, the sadness mirrors real-life grief. It's not melodramatic, it's human. Your brain recognizes the finality, even if it was virtual. For others, the depression isn't emotional but existential. The game gave them structure, escape, or a sense of purpose. It may have helped them cope with real-world stress, loneliness, or trauma. And when it ends, they're suddenly back in reality, raw, exposed, and without the digital comfort they were clinging to. The silence isn't just quiet, it's deafening. What makes post-game depression uniquely challenging is that it can feel trivial. You know it's just a game, and yet your emotions say otherwise. This disconnect can lead to guilt or confusion. Why am I this upset? But the truth is, any experience that deeply engages your mind and emotions has the power to affect you. Games are art, they are stories, and sometimes they're sanctuaries. It happens to more people than you think. You're not broken, you're not alone, you're just caught in what every passionate person eventually faces in life, the season of disconnection. So the magic feels gone. You've tried to relight the spark, but it just fizzles. It's not that you hate games. It's not that they've suddenly turned bad. It's more like trying to laugh at a joke you've already heard 100 times. You remember laughing before, but now it barely tickles. So what's really going on? We live in a time of constant overload. Social media, work pressure, family responsibilities, financial anxiety, it all adds up. When your brain is already juggling survival, pleasure gets sidelined. Gaming becomes another task to complete rather than a way to unwind. When you're mentally drained, even something you once loved can feel exhausting. It's not that the game is boring, it's that your mind is already carrying too much weight to feel light again. Think of your attention like a phone battery. Games used to charge you up. Now, they just drain the last 5% you had left after a long day. Ever opened your game library and felt paralyzed? You scroll endlessly. Too many choices, too many genres, nothing feels right. This is decision fatigue, and it's real. When you're faced with too many options, your brain shuts down. It's the same reason people binge watch comfort shows instead of trying something new. Ironically, the more games we have access to, the less we want to play them. Games are designed to give you little hits of dopamine, new levels, rewards, achievements, cool cinematics. But just like with sugar or caffeine, over time, you build up tolerance. What once gave you a thrill, the first time you beat a boss, unlocked a rare item, pulled off a trick shot, now feels routine, predictable, dull. Modern games especially lean into grind culture and overstimulation. Flashy rewards, never-ending content updates, daily logins. But they risk becoming quantity over quality, leading to burnout. You're no longer playing for fun, you're chasing a feeling you barely remember. This one hits deep. You're not the same person you were when you first fell in love with gaming. Your life has changed. You've grown up. Your priorities have shifted. Maybe you're working long hours. Maybe you have a family. Maybe you're navigating depression, anxiety, or just the unpredictability of adulthood. Gaming no longer fits into your life the same way it used to, and that's not a bad thing. It means you're evolving. But part of you still grieves the loss, and that grief shows up as frustration, confusion, guilt. You feel disconnected from a version of yourself that felt alive with a controller in hand. Gaming used to be personal. Now, it's public. Social media, YouTube, Twitch, everyone has an opinion. You can't just enjoy a game anymore. You have to compare it, rate it, defend it. This constant comparison strips away joy. You might like a game, but because it's not Game of the Year material or didn't live up to the hype, you start questioning your own enjoyment. You feel pressure to like what everyone else does, or to have strong opinions about what you don't. Suddenly, gaming isn't your safe space anymore. It's a performance. In the age of TikTok, YouTube Shorts, and fast scrolling, our brains are rewiring for instant gratification. Long-form content, like deep, story-driven games, can feel slow and unrewarding. You might boot up a 60-hour epic and think, do I really have the energy for this right now? And then you close it and watch memes for an hour instead. It's not laziness, it's neural conditioning, and it's happening to everyone. What you're feeling is a cocktail of burnout, overstimulation, adult responsibilities, and emotional evolution. But it doesn't mean your love for games is dead. It just means your relationship with them is changing. And like any meaningful relationship, it's worth exploring, understanding, and maybe, eventually, rekindling in a new form. It's not about going back to who you were. It's about discovering who you are now and what kind of joy you're ready to experience next. At some point, life demands more of you. Responsibilities multiply. Time compresses. Gaming, once a daily routine or an escape, starts to feel like a luxury you can't afford. You still think about it, you miss it, But now you have a job, bills to pay, people to support, deadlines to meet, and relationships to maintain. Your world no longer revolves around pixels and leaderboards, it's grounded in reality. The shift is subtle at first. You might stop playing late at night because you have to be up early for work. You tell yourself you'll play on the weekend, but errands and family obligations consume the time. Maybe you boot up a game after dinner, but you're too tired to even complete a mission. You switch it off and go to sleep. That becomes your routine. Even when you do find time, there's guilt attached to it. You ask yourself, shouldn't I be doing something more productive? Gaming starts to feel like a childish indulgence, not because it is, but because the pressures of adulthood have framed it that way. This doesn't mean you've outgrown games. It means your relationship with them has changed. You don't have the same mental space you had as a teenager or student. Back then, you could get lost in a game for hours without a care. Now, even if you have the time, your mind is occupied with other things. Gaming requires focus, and you're already using that focus to survive in the real world. There's also the issue of return on investment. You start analyzing how much time a game will take, what you'll get out of it, and whether it's worth it. You're less interested in grinding or replaying the same mission 10 times to unlock a skin. That kind of patience and motivation often fades with age, or at least with shifting priorities. Social dynamics also evolve. Maybe your old gaming friends have moved on. Multiplayer lobbies are filled with strangers. LAN parties are memories. Even the conversations around games feel different. You no longer have the time to keep up with every release, patch, or controversy. And that sense of missing out slowly distances you further. The transition from gamer to adult doesn't require abandoning games, but it does require an honest reckoning with what games now mean to you. They may no longer be the centerpiece of your identity. They might instead become an occasional escape, a weekend hobby, or a way to stay connected with a childhood passion. What's important is recognizing that change isn't a failure, it's growth. You're not necessarily growing apart from games, you're growing beyond the version of yourself that once needed them constantly. And that's okay. When you start losing interest in games, something that was once such a big part of your life, it can feel isolating. You might begin to question yourself. Was I faking my passion? Did I just waste all that time? Why do I feel guilty for not playing? The absence of joy where there used to be plenty can trigger a subtle identity crisis. But what you need to know is this: you are not the only one going through this. Across forums like Reddit, Discord servers, YouTube comment sections, and private group chats, thousands of people are echoing the same thoughts. They used to game every day, now they can't even force themselves to enjoy 15 minutes of a new release. The backlog of games keeps growing, but motivation doesn't. Some people share stories of staring blankly at their screen with a game open, only to alt-tab and scroll aimlessly through social media instead. Others talk about uninstalling games they were once excited for, not because the game was bad, but because something inside just felt off. Some say they feel guilty for spending money on games they never end up playing. Others admit they keep buying new games just to chase a feeling they no longer experience. It's a pattern, a silent one. And unless you talk to someone who's felt it too, you might think you're alone. But you're not. You're part of a larger shift, generational, technological, emotional. People are growing up. The world is changing. The way we consume media, entertainment, and joy itself is evolving rapidly. The same way music lovers may stop attending concerts or athletes might hang up their boots, gamers also go through cycles of connection and disconnection. And in that process, many people begin to question the role gaming plays in their lives. There's also a growing conversation about how modern life is rewiring our attention spans. We are flooded with content. We're overstimulated. We've grown addicted to fast, short, easy dopamine. And gaming, which once offered deep engagement, now competes with reels, shorts, rapid-fire content, and algorithmic chaos. You are trying to sit down and immerse yourself in a 50-hour RPG while your brain has been conditioned for 15-second dopamine loops. It's not your fault, it's systemic. What's reassuring is this: many of the people who go through this phase eventually return to gaming in a new form. Some take breaks, a month, a year, or even several years, and return with renewed appreciation. Others find a new way to engage with games, not as a daily activity, but as a special event. Something to look forward to rather than something to fill time. And then there are those who pivot completely, who find joy in creating content, analyzing games, composing music, or even just watching others play. The passion didn't disappear, it just changed shape. You're not broken, you're evolving, and countless others are right there with you. It's a strange type of frustration. You want to play, you plan to play, and yet you don't. The controller sits within reach. The game is already installed. You even carved out the time. But when the moment arrives, something holds you back. You find yourself procrastinating, doing chores, watching another episode of something, scrolling endlessly, or just sitting there in silence, thinking about how much you should be playing, but not actually doing it. This isn't laziness, it's not disinterest. It's a deeper block, a psychological friction between intention and action. And it often happens when we tie gaming too closely to identity or emotion. You might think, if I don't enjoy this now, what does that say about me? Or, if this doesn't excite me anymore, am I losing who I used to be? When something you love begins to feel unreachable, it can trigger shame. And shame breeds avoidance. Another common reason for this block is energy mismatch. Gaming, especially immersive or competitive games, requires mental energy. Decision-making, strategizing, focusing, reacting, it's not passive. It demands presence. And when your brain is already overloaded from stress, work, social anxiety, or burnout, that mental energy simply isn't available. You might genuinely want to play, you might even crave it, but your brain's energy budget for the day has been depleted. What's left is the desire without the capacity. There's also an element of perceived productivity. As you grow older, gaming can start to feel indulgent, even if no one tells you that directly. You think of the emails you haven't answered, the bills due, the career goals lagging behind. You hesitate before launching a game because, deep down, you fear you'll regret it later. This mental tug-of-war makes gaming feel heavier than it used to. And the more pressure you put on yourself to play, to enjoy it like before, the more that pressure becomes resistance. There's also emotional weight. If gaming was once your escape during difficult times, childhood stress, loneliness, or teenage isolation, returning to those same games now might reopen feelings you've buried. The nostalgia is sweet but also loaded. Sometimes, we avoid games not because we don't love them, but because they remind us of parts of ourselves we're trying to move on from. So what can you do? You can give yourself permission to pause without guilt. You can remind yourself that it's okay to evolve. You can return to gaming gently without expectation. Try shorter games, simpler formats, or even just watching others play until the spark returns. Sometimes, the best way to reclaim your love for something is to stop forcing it. Let it come back to you when the time is right. Because when it does, the joy is real and earned. At some point, you start to wonder, is this it? Have I grown out of gaming? Is this the official goodbye? That thought alone can sting. You might not say it out loud, but in your mind it sounds something like, I used to be a gamer, now I just exist. That's a hard realization to sit with, especially when games weren't just a pastime, they were a part of you. They shaped how you saw the world, bonded you with friends, carried you through dark times, and gave you a sense of identity. Letting go feels like letting a piece of yourself fade into the background. But before you declare the death of your gamer self, ask this: is it really the end or just the end of a phase? A lot of people mistake transformation for termination, but not all change is a full stop. Sometimes it's a comma, a semicolon, a shift in tone, not the end of the story. Gaming doesn't have to disappear from your life. It might just need a new role. You may no longer be the person who spends 8 hours grinding through boss fights, but maybe you become the one who plays smaller, story-driven titles that last a weekend, or the one who enjoys narrative breakdowns and devours lore videos without playing the actual game, or the one who reconnects with gaming through creativity, streaming, making fan art, modding, writing game-inspired stories. Gaming might not be everything anymore. That doesn't mean it has to be nothing. It's worth noting how much the world around gaming has expanded. It's not just about playing anymore. Gaming is culture, community, commentary, education, a shared language across generations. Your relationship with it can evolve, just like your relationship with food, music, or friends. You don't throw out your guitar because you don't play daily. You don't stop being a reader because you haven't finished a book in months. Gaming works the same way. It doesn't vanish. It just waits for the right time to return. And sometimes, the space you create by stepping back gives you clarity. You start to remember why you played in the first place. The raw joy of exploration, the thrill of overcoming, the calm of immersion. For some, the spark never returns. That's okay too. Life opens new doors. Your love might shift to filmmaking, fitness, design, storytelling, or something completely unrelated. That doesn't erase your past, it honors it. And if one random evening You plug in an old controller, install a familiar game, and that flicker of joy returns, you'll know it wasn't the end of the road after all, just a new beginning. Sometimes, the spark comes back quietly. It might be a random trailer that triggers a rush of adrenaline, a friend casually mentioning a game you both loved, a moment of silence in your routine when you have nothing to do, and your brain says, "Remember that world, that boss fight, that soundtrack?" Reigniting your passion for gaming isn't about trying to force it. It's about creating space for it to return on its own terms. You can't chase wonder, but you can invite it. Start small. Think personal. Don't jump straight into massive 100-hour RPGs or the latest multiplayer metas. Start with a game that meant something to you once. Maybe it was Shadow of the Colossus and its haunting silence, or Skate 2 and the freedom it gave you, or a pixelated GBA title you played under a blanket with the volume low. Boot it up, play for 20 minutes, feel what returns. It's not about nostalgia for the sake of it, it's about reconnecting with the person you were and seeing what still speaks to you. Sometimes, the joy lies in the familiar. Sometimes, it lies in the unexpected. Try games that align with your current life. You may no longer have the time or energy to dedicate to hardcore raids or learning frame-perfect combos. That's okay. The gaming landscape today is enormous and diverse. You'll find games designed for people who want short, meaningful experiences. Titles like Journey, Celeste, Firewatch, or Unpacking that offer beauty, emotion, and immersion without requiring 50 hours of commitment. Try games that meet you where you are now. You don't have to chase every trend. You don't have to play competitively or stream or post your achievements online. Let it be private. Let it be yours again. Change the environment. If you're used to gaming in the same cramped space, same tired setup, same mental zone filled with stress, try shaking it up. Rearrange your desk. Hook your console to a different screen. Use headphones to block out the world. Even lighting a candle or lowering the room light can rewire the context in which you play. Small changes in space create big shifts in mindset. This isn't just about gaming, it's about reclaiming a ritual. Play with people you trust. Games can feel like a burden when you're alone, but with the right people, they become experiences again. Try a casual multiplayer game with a friend who makes you laugh. Revisit the joy of shared discovery. Not competition, not comparison, but connection. Gaming used to be social in the living room, in cafes, in hostels. It still can be. And if you don't have anyone nearby, the internet offers countless communities who aren't toxic or elitist. Just people looking to enjoy something together. Give yourself permission to quit. The funny thing about rekindling a flame is this. You're more likely to enjoy it when you give yourself permission not to. Play for a while, turn it off, come back later. Don't chase the feeling of your teenage years. Create a new relationship with gaming, one that understands your time, your energy, your priorities. You're not failing if it doesn't feel the same. You're just evolving. Gaming is an art form. Like music, film, and literature, it changes, and you change with it. Stay curious. Watch documentaries like High Score or Indie Game, the movie. Read about how games are made. Explore behind-the-scenes interviews with developers and voice actors. Engaging with the culture of games often brings back the thrill of the medium. Sometimes, you don't have to play a game to fall in love with games again. Rekindling the flame isn't about reliving your past. It's about reigniting your sense of play on your own terms. You may never be the same kind of gamer you once were. But that doesn't mean your journey with games is over. It just means a new chapter is beginning. For years, the word gamer meant something very specific. A teenager in a dark room, headphones on, competitive, addicted, obsessive. The stereotype, while always reductive, shaped how people viewed the hobby and how gamers viewed themselves. But the truth is, that definition was never real. And today, it's obsolete. Being a gamer doesn't mean pouring hundreds of hours into competitive titles. It doesn't mean keeping up with every hardware release. It doesn't mean finishing every game in your backlog or being part of the discourse or even playing regularly. Being a gamer simply means you enjoy games. That's it. The rest is yours to define. You don't need to prove anything. There's pressure, especially online, to perform gaming. People stream their gameplay, post their achievements, rank games, critique them, argue about genres, graphics, and studios. That's all valid, but it's not a requirement. You don't need to platinum a game to be a real gamer. You don't need to beat a Souls-like. You don't need to play the right games or even be good at them. Gaming is a deeply personal relationship. No one else gets to dictate how you experience it. Your pace is the right pace. There was a time when you could sit and finish an entire game in a weekend. Today, life might only allow 30 minutes on a Sunday. That's not less valid. That's reality. If it takes you 6 months to finish The Witcher 3, that doesn't mean you're out of touch. It means you're living a life that includes games, not one built entirely around them. Play slow, play sporadically, play when it makes you happy. Your taste can evolve. Maybe you don't enjoy the same genres anymore. The hyper-adrenaline of FPS games might feel exhausting now. The endless grind of RPGs might feel hollow. That's not loss, that's growth. You might discover you now love story-driven indies or city builders or cozy farming sims. Or maybe you're drawn to retro titles for their simplicity and charm. What you enjoy says more about where you are in life than where the industry is. You're allowed to shift. You can be a gamer without gaming. This one's hard to accept, but true. You might go months, even years, without playing anything substantial. But you still care. You still pay attention. You still feel something when you hear a soundtrack or see a favorite character or read about a game in development. The identity doesn't disappear just because you're on pause. It's not defined by output, it's defined by connection. You're not alone. One of the most powerful realizations is that thousands, maybe millions of people feel the same way you do. Burnt out, disconnected, guilty for not enjoying games like before. But none of them are broken, and neither are you. Communities exist where this quiet burnout is shared, understood, and even laughed about. You can find people discussing the exact dilemma. Why do I want to play but can't bring myself to start? The landscape of gaming has changed. It's more diverse, more inclusive, more expansive. You no longer have to fit into a mold. Whether you're 15 or 50, there's a place for you. Maybe it's a late night session on your phone. Maybe it's a weekend playthrough with your kid. Maybe it's watching a speedrun at YouTube. Or maybe it's just knowing you love this medium. In your own way, in your own time. Being a gamer doesn't mean chasing the past. It means making peace with your present. You haven't fallen behind. You've just changed. And that's what games do too. They grow, they adapt, they find new ways to speak to us. And when they do, you'll be ready to listen again. The solution isn't to avoid games that affect you. It's to honor what they gave you. Let yourself grieve a little. Sit with the feelings. Journal about the experience. Talk with others who've played it. Some gamers even replay the soundtrack or rewatch cutscenes to find closure. And eventually, when you're ready, not rushed, you'll find another world worth exploring. Not to replace the last one, but to remind you that powerful games aren't the end of your journey. They're proof of how deeply interactive media can touch the soul. Recovering from post-game depression isn't about forgetting the game. It's about integrating what it gave you and reclaiming your mental space in a healthy, deliberate way. The key is to allow yourself to feel the emptiness without immediately trying to fill it with distractions. Don't minimize what you're feeling. If a game made you emotional, gave you purpose, or helped you escape a rough patch in life, it deserves respect. Talk about it, write a review, make a post, join discussions, or watch analyses. Validation helps you process it. Let your brain rest. Don't jump into another game immediately. Give yourself a cool down period, a few days, or even a week, where you do other activities like walking, journaling, catching up with friends, or consuming non-interactive media like movies or books. Let your emotions settle. Ask yourself, what did I love most about this game? What themes affected me? Did it remind me of something from my life? Understanding why the game hit you so hard will help you grow emotionally and help you appreciate future games in deeper ways. Games, especially long or emotionally intense ones, can detach us from real life, reconnect with your surroundings, reorganize your space, go outside, eat well, exercise. This isn't about detoxing from games but restoring balance. Make fan art, write fan fiction, create a tribute video, or discuss your interpretation of the ending. These actions are cathartic and help you express what you can't quite put into words. Transformation turns passive sadness into creative growth. Join communities. Reddit threads, Discord groups, or YouTube comment sections can remind you that you're not alone. Many people feel these exact things and find meaning by sharing their experiences. When you're emotionally ready to play again, the goal isn't to replicate your last experience, but to build upon it. Here's how to find your next great journey. Was it the narrative, the characters, the emotional decisions, the visual art, the soundtrack, or the world building? Use that insight to guide your next game. If it was narrative, try Disco Elysium, Life is Strange, or Firewatch. If it was emotional bonds, try Persona 5, Mass Effect, or Undertale. If it was the setting, look into Hollow Knight, Outer Wilds, or Ghost of Tsushima. For example, for fast-paced, reflex-driven gameplay with combat elements. Try Grand Theft Auto 5, Devil May Cry 5, Bayonetta 3, Metal Gear Solid 5, Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. For story-driven gameplay focused on exploration and discovery, play The Legend of Zelda, Breath of the Wild, Uncharted 4, A Thief's End, Life is Strange, The Walking Dead. For gameplay centered around problem-solving and logic-based challenges, try Portal 2, The Witness, Tetris Effect, Inside, Baba Is You. For competitive vehicle-based gameplay, often focused on speed and precision, Forza Horizon 5, Gran Turismo 7, Mario Kart 8, Need for Speed Heat, F1 2024. For real-world sports, often with competitive or team-based mechanics, FIFA 24, NBA 2K24, Madden NFL 24, Rocket League, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. For deep character customization, leveling systems, and immersive storytelling, play The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt, Elden Ring, Final Fantasy VII Remake, Cyberpunk 2077, Persona 5 Royal. For gun-based combat from a first-person or third-person perspective, there's the all-reliable Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, Halo Infinite, Doom Eternal, Overwatch 2, Gears of War 5. For games requires tactical thinking, planning, and resource management, play Sid Meier's Civilization 6, XCOM 2, Age of Empires 4, StarCraft 2, Total War Warhammer. For games which focuses on fear, tension, and survival elements, often with limited resources, play Resident Evil Village, Silent Hill, Outlast, Dead Space Remake, Alien, Isolation. For games which gives you the freedom to explore a vast, interactive environment, play Minecraft, Red Dead Redemption 2, No Man's Sky, The Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim, Horizon Forbidden West. Each genre offers unique gameplay experiences, and many games blur the lines between multiple genres. Choose something different or something safe. You can either go in the opposite direction. If your last game was emotional, pick a lighthearted or gameplay-driven one to reset. Or go back to basics. Revisit an old favorite for comfort. Nostalgia can help bridge the gap. It's tempting to judge every new game against the one you just finished. Don't. Every game deserves its own space. Allow it to build its own connection over time. Smaller games like Journey, Grease, or What Remains of Edith Finch can offer deep meaning without the emotional exhaustion of 50-hour sagas. They're perfect for transition periods. Eventually, another game will pull you in. Not in the same way, but in a new way. Just like in life, you don't stop feeling joy after one great relationship. You just carry what you've learned forward, and you appreciate the next one with wiser eyes. For many, the idea of less in gaming feels like a loss, a decline, a compromise. But in truth, playing less can lead to a richer, more meaningful relationship with games. It's not a downgrade, it's a refinement. When you play less, every moment counts more. Every session becomes a choice, not a compulsion. The games you do play begin to shine in new ways. Gaming used to be automatic. Boot up, play whatever's trending, log hours without thinking. You didn't always ask why you were playing, it was just something you did. But when time is short, intentionality becomes everything. Now, each gaming session is a decision. It has purpose. Maybe you're chasing a story, escaping stress, or rewarding yourself after a long week. The point is, you're conscious of why you're playing. This shift from habit to intention can make the experience more satisfying than ever. There's a freedom in not needing to play everything. Gaming isn't a race to tick boxes, it's a personal journey. Playing less allows you to curate what matters. Instead of keeping up with every release, you choose based on resonance. What speaks to you right now? What fits your mood? What deserves your time? You start to trust your gut instead of the hype. This curation leads to fewer regrets, less FOMO, and more joy per hour. Ironically, one of the best things about playing fewer games is what it opens space for: reading, music, creative projects, nature, relationships. Instead of games being your only outlet, they become part of a broader ecosystem of joy. You start to see them as one flavor in the buffet of your life, not the entire meal. And when you do return to gaming, it's with a renewed appetite. When you stop gaming daily, the pressure disappears. You no longer need to get good or min-max every moment. You're free to play on easy mode, free to ignore side quests, free to just have fun. You start to appreciate small things, clever dialogue, unique art design, the way a soundtrack swells at the right moment. Fewer hours doesn't mean fewer memories. Sometimes it's the short games or the short bursts that leave the deepest impressions. With less time and more curiosity, you may stumble into genres you previously ignored. Visual novels, puzzle games, walking simulators, card games, cozy sims. These aren't filler, they're perfectly paced for short sessions and meaningful impact. You no longer need adrenaline to feel engaged. Sometimes, all you need is immersion, or serenity, or clever mechanics in a 10-minute loop. Playing less often invites you to play differently, and that can change everything. When you play fewer games, you start to notice which ones stay in your thoughts. You remember the moral choice you made in a story-driven title. You hum a tune from a retro RPG. You smile at the memory of a glitch or a laugh shared with a friend. Some games become companions, not consumables. They linger, they evolve in your memory. And with time, they become more than entertainment, they become part of your identity. By not engaging constantly, you free yourself from the gaming algorithm cycle, the constant barrage of updates, recommendations, and must-play lists. You no longer feel like you're falling behind. Instead, you forge your own trail. You might return to a game from 2012, or discover a hidden gem no one talks about. You stop being a consumer. You become a seeker. That freedom is liberating. And it's a luxury only available when you're no longer trying to keep pace with the herd. For those who play less, success in gaming looks different. It's not about 100% completion. It's about completion at all. It's not about leaderboards or ranks. It's about walking away from a game feeling something real. You might only finish 3 games this year, but if they made you laugh, cry, or think that's enough, you've succeeded. At its best, playing fewer games helps you reconnect with why you ever loved them. Not as an escape, not as a distraction, but as a space where imagination and interactivity meet. A place where you're not just watching, you're doing, where your choices matter, where your reactions shape the experience. That connection, unclouded by excess or pressure, can feel like coming home. Less isn't less. It's deeper. When you play less, you experience more. The quiet magic returns, the fatigue fades, and what remains is distilled joy. The joy of choice, the joy of immersion, the joy of rediscovering something on your terms. That's not a loss, that's a revival. Alright, let's bring it home. If gaming has started to feel more like a chore than an escape, maybe it's time to take a step back. We've all been guilty of sweating over ranked matches, stressing about KD ratios, or obsessing over 100% completion. But is that really what gaming is about? Gaming was meant to be fun, not a test of skill perfection or grinding until frustration kicks in. So maybe the secret to enjoying games again is simple. Play to relax, not to prove something. Turn off the competitive mindset for a bit. Play silly side quests, mess around with weird game mechanics, and stop worrying about being the best all the time. Think back to when you first started gaming. It wasn't about leaderboards or achievements, it was just about pure enjoyment. Maybe it's time to rediscover that joy. So, next time you boot up a game, ask yourself, am I having fun? If the answer is no, maybe it's time to stop playing too seriously and start playing the way you actually enjoy. If this video helped, comment your favorite game genre. Subscribe to my channel because I got more deep dives coming your way.